I'm Allison McAtee, and I played Maggie Day on the Haves and Have-Nots. And I just wanted to say thank you so much to all of the fans for all the love. I had such a blast being her in all of her evil badness, and I love that you loved it just as much as I did.
All right, haves and have not fans. So, in this particular video, I wanted to talk about the subject of the show coming back. Now, it is May 12th when I'm recording this, and I just want to let you know, as far as I know, there are no plans whatsoever to revive the series. And I've talked about this subject before, but this month being the anniversary or the 10th anniversary of the series, we had to bring the question up, as we always do. Now, first of all, I just wanted to give a special thank you to Miss Allison, aka Maggie Day. When the month started, I figured, well, I'll talk about the show, but I feel like the 10th anniversary being such a big deal, I ought to reach out to some special individuals. So I did reach out to quite a good number of people from the cast of the show. And I was taken aback by how many responded saying that they would love to contribute. So as the videos for the haves and the have-nots continue to roll out for the rest of the month, you're going to see some familiar faces pop up. So I thought that was pretty cool. Like, my whole situation, I don't have the strongest internet, so I can't really do interviews. I would have loved to do that throughout the month. But getting special messages from the cast of the show to thank the fans for the love and whatnot, I figure was the next best thing. So, like I said, you definitely want to keep your eyes peeled for any upcoming haves and have-not content, because, like I said, you never know who's going to pop up. So, make sure you hit the thumbs up button to show you like this video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon and select all. That way you are notified whenever I post new content. So, I've said this many times. Personally speaking, I don't think the show needs a reboot. I know you can use technical terms. Well, if they bring the show back, well, I feel like revival and reboot are two different things, because a reboot is typically, hey, we're bringing back this old show. We're going to, change some things, cover it with a new coat of paint, this, that, and the third. I feel like the haves and the have-nots easily could be brought back by, oh, the finale was just a dream. Simple as that. Don't believe me? Look at the entire series of The Pains. There was an episode of House of Pain, either season 9 or 10, where Curtis said he had a nightmare that he and Ella moved down to Florida, and it was awful. The entire spin-off series of House of Pain, with one line of dialogue, was written out of continuity. I am pretty dang sure Tyler Perry can do the same thing all over again by having Catherine or Hannah or somebody say the finale was a dream. Now, remember, my mom had a theory that I did a blog on, and then eventually a video on that blog, talking about how Catherine Cryer could have been dreaming the events of the entire series all the way back from season 1, when she went in the hospital to have surgery for her breast cancer. Yeah, that's a theory from way back when. Now, there are a lot of questions to be raised from that. Wait, but there are so many events and so many people that she had never even met by that point. How could she have a dream about them? Hey, dreams are weird, okay? Okay? So just run with that. But I think the other answer you can think of is maybe Hannah just had a nightmare. Possibly. But regardless, the finale could just be erased from continuity in order to pick up the story again. Because of the fact that I don't really see the point of a full-fledged series revival if we're keeping the finale intact, because by that point way too many of the characters are dead and there's really no sort of resolution aside. And I did a video about how I would have written the finale or what happens next. Check the haves and have not playlist. I go into good detail about how they can wrap things up. Like I forgot the character names, but I know the actress first name is Brittany. Sandy Malone's ex, who, he's territorial of. Maybe she's pregnant by Benny or something. I don't know. But I feel like Hannah, her being the last one standing, I just felt like Tyler just went to acrimony or, Um, a Fall from Grace just having a dark ending for the sake of, you know, dramatic effect, but in reality it felt like the fans from the beginning just got crapped on essentially because we spent all these years supporting the show only for it to end up the way it did. Now, personally, I would only want the show to be revived for quote unquote one season. It doesn't have to be a full like 20 something episode season, but maybe a good 8 to 12, give or take. You know, as long as the stories are fleshed out. Because think about it, Derek got arrested and that was the last time we saw him. No resolution of that whatsoever. The whole Charles plot, I still never liked the idea of the president-elect falling for Candace. That just felt way too... I love the earlier seasons when it was kind of like city level, street level, where it's like, oh, a judge running for governor, he has a prostitute. You know, it felt more realistic than, well, then again, after the Trump administration, hey. But I do feel like the reboot or revival should be put into place only for the sake of answering unanswered questions and finishing off unresolved storylines. I don't think we need another Haves and Have-Nots series that's lasting like 100 episodes. I only see that really happening if, let's say, let's say, for example, he gets the, the majority ownership stock of BET, and he needs content. I feel like if he played the Haves and the Have-Nots reruns, you know, basically starting with season 1 and putting it on BET, airing the episodes, if the ratings are high, I think that'll be an indicator like, hey, people want more. And if that's the case, screw it. Go ahead and make a full series of it. I mean, think of it this way. If they replayed the Haves and the Have-Nots from the beginning, we're talking about almost 200 episodes. What was the show? 197, if I remember correctly. Almost 200 episodes. He could like stretch it out where he airs the older episodes on the network to buy time for him to, you know, write and film new content. That would be great. I mean, think of it this way. House of Pain kind of works the same way. BET plays the old episodes and slowly but surely he releases new series of the reboot. I feel like the same could be done for the Haves and the Have-Nots. But truth be told, as a dedicated fan, I would not want the show to be brought back if it has the same level of quality as it did during those last few seasons on OWN. Because at that point, it just felt like, you know, Tyler was shoehorning in the writing. And if I remember correctly, the show was only supposed to be about like 7 seasons, but they stretched it out. And as a result, we had a crap ton of characters who were superfluous, missing characters. I mean, like Wyatt, Candace, Veronica. There were stretches, or Jim, there were stretches in the show where the characters who were in every single episode up until that point were gone for like 5 or 10 episodes. It felt like the Oval season 1. Because, you know, by that point, he was fully, you know, dedicated to his Viacom projects. The Haves and the Have-Nots kind of, you know, just fizzled out. And I would have rather the show end at, you know, episode 145, you know, or whatever the original episode count was. I would have rather the episode or the series ended on a strong note as opposed to what we got. Because I feel like to this day, there are still fans who are like, you know, I'm very skeptical of getting dedicated to another Tyler Perry show because what if he just kills everybody off like he did on the Haves and the Have-Nots? What about Oval? What about Sisters? Everybody just dies. I mean, on the Oval, the Oval and Ruthless is to be expected if there's a lot of death in the finale because look at the shows, they're death all the time. But I think that when it comes to a Haves and Have-Nots revival, I would only be willing to see it. I mean, if it came out, I would review it anyway. I'm that dude. But if it came back, I would only be excited if I knew for a fact either Tyler put a lot of time and attention into the project, he had a team of writers, and we got an idea of the available actors. Because, you know, like Tyler Lepley, the Haves and Have-Nots was his first acting gig, and now look at him, he's blown up, P-Valley and whatnot. But given the fact that a lot of these shows and projects that a number of the cast work on usually either get filmed at Tyler Perry Studios or in Atlanta, or because Tyler Perry films things so quickly, from what I've heard, you know, from over the years, he's very flexible with the schedule, and as a result, that's how people are able to go down there, film what they need to film, and then go on about their business. So I think a good finale, kind of like if Loving You Was Wrong. I don't want that show to come back for like 5 seasons. Bring the show back to finish up the series, properly. That's what I want. Bring it back, because if he has majority ownership, there's nobody that can tell him no. He doesn't have to rush things or stretch things out for a contract. He can do what he needs to do. And look, I know on BET, and this is another important factor about the whole, bring the show back. Just because it's on BET, or if it gets put on BET Plus, or, maybe he creates the revival for Netflix. I don't know how he'll do it. I don't think the series needs to be super gritty. It doesn't need to be rated X or, R. I like the way it was on OWN, but that's just me. I feel like just because the show gets brought back on BET, it doesn't need to be gruesome. It doesn't need to be extremely vulgar. I just want the good writing from the earlier seasons. I want good character conclusions. Notice I didn't even say development, because I just want the show to have a proper ending. As someone who was a day one ride or die for the show, and I felt like I had a nasty divorce after almost, 200 episodes because of the way it ended. I just really want the show to come back for a proper ending. Now, you could say, well, what about a movie? Nah, I think we need more than one movie. Make it like hey, perfect example, The Best Man, the final chapters. It came back for, what was it, 8 episodes or something? 10 episodes, however many it was. It did a great job closing the book. But at the same time, it left enough there for people oh, hey, maybe we'll do more. I mean, there were a lot of open-ended things in that miniseries, but for the most part, it did a great job wrapping up storylines, giving us a glimpse of what the characters, went through in the future, and a possibility of more to come. I want that for the haves and the have-nots. It doesn't have to come back for 100 episodes, but it does need to come back to wrap things up properly. And like I said before, not long after the show ended, when people kept demanding the show to come back, I said, hey, we just got to move on. I mean, the show wrapped filming 2 years prior to us actually seeing the finale. And on top of that, a lot of the other actors are doing other things. But with Tyler creating so many different projects, I would love to see these actors in other Tyler Perry shows, as opposed to bringing back a half-baked reboot of the haves and the have-nots with little of the quality. So that's just my opinion. Hell, I'd love to be on the writing team too, or at least just a consultant, if nothing else. Hey, if you don't want me on the writing team, if you need a fan that knows the show, I remember years ago talking about this. If it was a situation where, let's say, if Tyler Perry Studios called me up and I had to form a little mini Avengers team, who would I want to, if I could choose maybe 4 to 5 people who are other fans I know, and we were kind of joined together in terms of consultants, because that's one thing I do feel like fan fiction can ruin a show, but at the same time, fans know the show more often than not better than the actors do, or even the creators at times. So getting a perspective on what a haves and have-nots reboot or revival in order to wrap the series up properly, getting fan opinion might actually be a good thing. So I know if I had to choose a team, it would be myself, my mom, Chandler, and I forgot is it Adrian? Because we did a live stream, a triple live stream together, all 3 of us, before talking about the show. And I forgot the 5th person, but I know I wrote it down somewhere. Sorry, I can't remember at the moment, but those would be the group of people I would put together so we can discuss the show and how we would want it to come back and finish up properly. But that's just my opinion. I mean, think of it this way. The Haves and the Have-Nots was a play. It was a show. And I mean, maybe we could have a movie. Even if you have the Haves and Have-Nots a movie, it doesn't have to be, bar for bar like the show. But I mean, you could argue that The Family That Prays is technically or a major influence on what the haves and have-nots turned out to be. I mean, a lot of fans have said that for years. So, with that being said, how would you feel about the haves and the have-nots coming back? Would you want it to come back as a completely new series, new characters, new actors, or whatever? I don't think, because it's way too soon for that. It's way too soon for that. I would just want the show to come back, either a mini series or movie or something, to get a proper conclusion. That's pretty much the gist of it. Thanks again to Miss Maggie Day for submitting the video. I will leave her social media in the comment section below, and make sure to show her some love. Go follow her and tell her Jeremy sent you. So thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. I do appreciate it. And like I said, keep your eyes peeled for more haves and have not content, and I'll catch you in the next one.